So one day, over the phone, in a 1.5 hour conversation, she taught me the recipe. And I cooked it in the kitchen while coffee was. And being that I was away from my family, and I'm the oldest out of 13, I'm away from the family, and I flew home every weekend. And I wouldn't recommend it now, but back then the fare was fine. I was making decent money. Round trip was $200 every weekend, no problem. And when I couldn't go home, I called her 3 more times, and I told my grandmother, I said, Lucille, I need that recipe again. It's not coming out for me, right? And the reason I say that is because when she gave the recipe, she also gave the family history.
Okay.
Your Aunt Bessie cooked this on such and such a day for your uncle, and then they were getting married. Every time she told me the recipe, she gave me an extra label of history about a family member that lived before I was born. Sure. I didn't want to make the cake, I just wanted to hear the stories. And I was writing them down, and I was writing them down.
That's incredible.
And so the 3rd, 4th phone call, I was just calling because it was my grandmother. I never told her I mastered the cake. I just told her I have a problem. I can't get it to fluff right. It won't rise with chocolate. Icing is not as firm as you. I'd come up with something, but I mastered it. But I wanted to know more about the family that I never met. So I learned that her twin sister, son, was the first African-American police officer in this city, in Dallas, and that he had served with one other person that was hired 2 months later that was African-American. So B.J. Thomas is her nephew, and the other guy was Lee Below. And they had been police officers, and they didn't hire any other people of color in the police force for 22 years after that. They were police officers in 1940, in the early 40s.
That's unheard of.
And they didn't have a gun, couldn't change into a uniform in the station. They changed at a local gathering. You know, in our community, we gathered at food places and beauty shops. And this was a particular food place. It was a chicken place. So they put their uniforms there. They could only arrest people that looked like them. They had a billy club and handcuffs. So I just, over years, when she told me this story, I just found it, he had to be awfully bold to only arrest other people of color with a billy club and then make a phone call and they would come arrest him. He went into the police station 4 or 5 years before he retired. And that's when they had access. And so when I shared it with other police officers, they're amazed. But that story came from getting the funeral cake recipe. So in the cookbook, you will see a story associated with every recipe in there from men all over the country. And mine was a funeral cake. And if you understand early African-American culture, we were about dressing to the nines, having the right labels. And so when you made the cake, you had to use the right labels. You had to use Calumet baking soda, Land O'Lakes butter, and you accidentally leave the boxes out to let people know this cake is authentic. It has all the authentic pieces. And in my story, you'll see why my grandmother taught me it's very important. Don't substitute these brands. Of course, there is no Calumet baking soda anymore.
No, not anymore.
Land O'Lakes is still around. It's a different type of Oh, you? Well, you don't. And some of the other things that were in the ingredients don't exist, but you learn to leave those out. Because if you didn't have the right ingredients, no one would eat your cake. You might as well climb in there with the deceased, because your career was dead if you didn't make that cake with those 2 particular ingredients. You couldn't substitute the flour. It had to be gold medal. You had to leave it out accidentally, or leave the cabinet door open, let people know you use the Calumet baking soda, the gold medal, Land O'Lakes butter, and you have pure ground chocolate and carrots, and there's no way you would survive a funeral if they didn't think that cake had the authentic ingredients. That's why it was called a brand cake. It's got the right brands, or else you might as well climb in the coffin with the deceased, because he's not going to make it to the rest of the country. The funeral cake was my recipe. You see seafood in the book, bread, Peruvian dishes. Some of our cooks, one of our cooks is Anchor here, Steve Pickett, with CBS.
Sure.
And he has a dish that called adobe, and it's a native dish of this country. The guy in the picture over there, he's from Puerto Rico. We had kids from the Barack Obama Leadership Academy who didn't have fathers. And my teachers, one of the teachers there, he was my teacher in high school. He's always empowered children to change their lives. He taught me about African American history. He taught me about leaders that looked like me. and that I could be great if I wanted to, and I lived that example. He said, his confirmation I made it was okay, but we had all of his 1,300 kids come to the event. He's at the Barack Obama Male Leadership Academy in New York City, and we had kids come from a school named after the first African American city councilwoman in Irving, Texas, Jackie Townsend. So they came out. So we were just showing people that you don't have to see men of color on cops.
Right.
We're regular people. And they were amazed by it. They just loved it. We had 6 NFL players. We had 4 judges, 2 mayors, and there's one guy that has a company called Baby Daddy. It was a clothing line, and he cooked food. And of course, our mascot is Mr. Russell. He's 86 years old, and he makes a sweet potato pie that melts in your hand. And so, when it opens at 3 o'clock, the women coming to the event, they line up for him. Where's Mr. Russell's table? Yeah, where's it? And he's over there. Because he not only serves a pie all day, but he sells it too. So, $16 pie he gives away for $5 in the back. He's serving it free all day. But that pie, the sweet potato pie, doesn't melt in your mouth, and it's just slowly, he refuses to divulge the recipe, but he's been doing it for 9 years for us. And then there's the greens that get line for the jambalaya, the crawfish, the lobster. This is, and these are all men that cook these recipes. Some of the men are married, but like I said, a father's table is, you don't get a hookup, you get a connection. We've had 2 weddings so far, and just been great. But one person is a cook, met his wife there, and she's a volunteer.
Wow.
And they had this beautiful wedding I participated in. It was outside of the gazebo, and it was just good to see that having a community-based event where you're showing young people that men do the right thing in the community every day, not just occasionally. Just our opening prayer sets the tone that we are here because Spirit has put us here.
Absolutely.
And that it is not about who didn't come, it's about who showed up. And then we're going to dance with God with this food. And we're going to serve people. We call it, the men are honored and the women are served. We had the Tuskegee Airmen come out. And one of the winning tables, the only thing you judge people on is decoration or presentation, one of the others. You can decorate a table well, you may not present well, but you can present well and the decoration's not so hot either. One of the tables that won for decoration was Cake Daddy. All he makes is cake. He had a cake that looked like, of course, the world famous Dallas Cowboys. He had another cake, and then he did a Tuskegee Airman red tail cake for the Tuskegee Airmen. Yeah. And that was an amazing event because when they rolled in, the audience almost stopped eating to go see the man who was in the Red Tails movie. And Sergeant Homer Hogue and Lieutenant Calvin Spann. Calvin's my buddy, called Calvin, and they've had over 80 flights, bombed protected bombers for the last 2 years of war. They live here, and the kids love that too. They want to know, but they've seen the movie, I guess, because they were asking all the questions about flying and how do you fly and drop a bomb at the same time. It was great, and Cake Daddy made a special cake. Then the other winning table was a young man who works for a law firm. He's a grandfather, and he had the jambalaya. The third one was the Puerto Rican. He had a Caribbean. He had palm trees. It works around his table, and the food. He had 6 different Caribbean dishes.
Wow!
And it was done.
A father's table. Now you branded it as an annual event, but it's much more than that. And you've got connections all around, literally everywhere. African American men coming together to do something positive. How has and you have roots from Southern Methodist, you're along with SMU. How has the faith community embraced this?
Well, the good thing about our event is that we don't sell tickets. We print the tickets and we give them to nonprofits that are growing. They sell the tickets, they keep the money, we get the audience. I use sponsors. Our sponsors have been across the board, Maple Leaf Farms, FedEx, just across the board of the sponsors that we had. And so the sponsorship drives in that we are able to give a cook who says, I want to participate, I don't have the money. They get a lot of swag. They get the bag, the hot sauce, the jacket, and they get, there are things in the bag like electronic items, cell phone gadgets, the whole thing. They get over $150 worth of stuff for a $40 registration fee. The average cost is about $175 worth of food. So we give them $300 worth of tickets.
Absolutely.
And they sell it, they keep the money, and they give us a portion for the printing. And that gets their families there. They get to pay for it. So it's virtually a no-cost event to the nonprofits. And if you understand that a nonprofit may give a gala, they may not make any money because all the money's been spent with the hotel food, the table. Well, we give you the tickets, we're gonna take care of everything. All you gotta do is sell it, and we put them on TV. We are the highest Nielsen rated event for Father's Day for the past 14 years.
That's incredible.
So we're the highest rated event, period.
Yeah.
But it's Father's Day too. And it's quite a challenge because this is Texas. And that weekend is Juneteenth weekend as well. And so for 2 days, people are eating free all over the city. It's just free. We're going to give away red soda, water, hot dogs, all the things that come with Juneteenth.
Yeah.
So I get to partner with the Juneteenth organizations, and we are the closing event for Juneteenth. And they sell the tickets at their events. And so that helps us. And that's how we have such a community penetration. We have like a 60% penetration in the community. So the sponsors love it.
Tell me about the hot sauce. How did it come about?
Well,
and it's habanero.
yeah, it's good. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, 'cause it's got my name on it. But,
Oh, yeah.
one of our celebrities was J. Anthony Brown.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he has a hot sauce.
Yep.
You'll have to look it up because I can't pronounce the name of it on your show. And I met him, and he was paying entirely too much to have his hot sauce produced. And I told him we could create an organic sauce and bottle it and put it in the store. So I got a relationship with 2 of the stores, 2 organic food stores. But he liked more of the entertainment side. It was more of a showcase for him. He'd show up at trade shows and do it. He didn't want to go into the grocery stores. But I had developed a hot sauce that I thought was organic, made from the recipes I got from my great-grandfather. As you can see the ingredients inside, you can see the ingredients.
Absolutely.
And so I didn't want to spend all the time I spent with the food packers and the developers to say, let's not let this go away. So I decided to go ahead and make it. And I put it in a bottle and we sell it for charity. And this fuels our
The actual brand.
our youth program.
Yeah.
And we have a mentoring program right now in 42 locations for the summer. We serve breakfast and lunch, and we do cultural activities in the morning. In the afternoon, we do life development. Like this week, we're focused on leadership in all 42 locations.
42 locations around Dallas.
Oh no, North Central Texas.
Wow.
As far as Amarillo, Texas.
Yeah.
As far south as Burleson, Texas. And we have some in Midland. And we partner with one of the charities over there, the Azar Foundation, which is run by my sister. She has over 110 locations, and stretching all the way up as far as Oklahoma and going as far as Louisiana. And I manage those. And I have a job. So there's no stopping. So this sauce helps pay for the education ambassadors and all the perks. Like we have paper money that they get for participating, and at the end they get to go into the store and buy stuff. So the hot sauce sales helps buy create a store.
So for young men that want to be a part of either the annual event or everything else that you mentioned, alluded to, how do they get in touch with Palate? How do they reach out?
They're gonna go to your website.
Okay.
And they're gonna see the link to this website.
Yeah.
They're gonna see a fatherstable.com. They're gonna push the button that says, I want to volunteer, I want to cook, I want a ticket, I want to be a participating charity, I want to be a sponsor. And they get to choose. There's a whole template of things they can choose. We have ongoing programs, but we also have a focus on women as well. During October, we have the Pampered Lady in Your Life Day. So the women get spa treatments and flowers, roses, poems, and poetry. One of our cooks is a spoken word artist. His CD just came out this week, Zamil, and so he gets to perform his tribute to the women. And then we do it again on February 14th in Valentine's Day. So it's a full-fledged thing, and that's why I had to take the name Private. The strange thing about it is that I did take a Father's Table Private, creating the name from the old name, but I opened up with 9 cities.
Right.
So we opened up with all the cities,
Okay.
and they did soft lunches like a dinner, our tribute. We have one of the program ingredients. It's called a baker's dozen, and in the cooking world, baker's dozen is 13. We asked them to identify 13 leaders, both male and female, that have done great things in the community they have not been recognized. So each city opened up with their own baker's dozen ceremony. Washington D.C. with Tanya. Tanya's doing hers on the Hill, because she is with the House of Representatives in Washington D.C. So she's taking 125 women, girls, to meet the women on the Hill. So that's our baker's dozen. She's going to identify 13 congressional leaders who are female, and about 150 girls. But she's our media network. Her kids do the Good News Network. So the kids go to all the cities and take the events. So it's intricate, but it's easy to work, because the goal of Father's Table is to make sure that the organization is unrecognized, unheralded, unsung, gets that focus and does the work. We don't do the work, we set the template, we mentor, we shoulder them, and they do it. Good News TV is in Washington, D.C. Chef D.C. is in Houston. He has a mentoring program. He's doing it for Houston. And the journalism group in Oklahoma is doing it for Oklahoma. But it's all just a template to say we can change the world one bite at a time, and we can focus on the positive things we do in the community, because they don't get that focus. And so it's a media-driven event. So sponsors love it because they can sample the heck out of stuff: coffee, food, tires. Home Depot was a sponsor at one point, and they'd given the fathers the coupons to go in there. We had Central Market. They gave the fathers a $50 coupon. Of course, the fathers spent an average of $400 because they had that coupon to get them into the store. So it's a sponsor's delight, and I set it up that way. So the sponsors, we make people accountable. I have 275 cooks that have cooked all together. And we'll send an email to them that says, I didn't see this company at our event, so are y'all still buying the product? And they would let us know we would buy this product even more if you showed up and sponsored our mentoring or our signature event on Father's Day. So it's a festival filled with food and fun.
What's next for you?
Rest. But I just want to make sure that Father's Table becomes replication, has a proper replication in each city. I've targeted for 25 cities, but we have already achieved a partnership in Haiti, and I want to focus on the people who are displaced by the earthquake. We have one in Barbados. We're working on Africa right now. We're working on in Liberia and Senegal, and then of course my brother is in Brazil, so he's working on trying to find a partner for that. I want to know that we can save young men. I think that we teach fathers and other people how to raise men as leaders. And we believe in the premise that a father can raise a son, so we have to support women too, because women not only raise families, but they raise nations. And we need to know that the single mothers, we got your back. Here in Dallas, we partner with one of the women who got married to the cook. She has a program called Gifts for Moms. And it's the gifts that we give to more women who are single parents who really can't afford Christmas gifts. And we get the gifts for the kids. It's almost like a wishing tree, but it's more direct. So we partner with a lot of the women, because it's mostly, the women are 70% of the audience.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's a connection that I have.
Incredible. Thank you.
I'm glad I got through this. I think they should go to fatherstable.com and see the videos and our YouTube, and know that we are not just cooking the best food in the world, but we are world changers. We're world changers, yes. And one of the things I thought most intense was by a woman who visited, who was asked to come by my coworker at FedEx. She said, I never saw so much spirit in this room, and all these men cooking, and the joy that came from the people's faces. She said she knows this had to be touched by God. And there's only 50 comments on that blog. That's the only one I remember, because it was
Profound.
It was God's way of saying, job well done. And I said, thank you, God, because I didn't know how it was going to come out. And her comment kind of put focus on what we were trying to do. I was just trying to do what my grandmother said God said I should do before she died. She said, you have got to do God's work. And I asked her what that was, and she said, you'll know. And that was it. this was it. It's been successful on its own. And I've been blessed with it. I mean, had to be successful. You call it.
It reached me.
I'd like to take this time on there to let you know we're giving you your hot sauce.
Thank you, sir.
All right, and since you're traveling, we're going to give you your Father's Table backpack, which is the most popular event. The men love this because they get to put everything they go into the game in.
Okay.
And inside you have some, I gotta take some stuff out, but you have stuff from our sponsor. From FedEx, you have this electronic piece that you will always need knowing your business.
Yeah, you can't get away from these.
And our focus is on food. So
Wow.
we teach you how to make those combinations when you're traveling, going into the restaurant, and what not to eat and what not to mix.
That's incredible.
You put it all in your bag.
And is this available out there?
But that's part of our
Or is this just
healthy
part of
food
it?
program.
Okay.
So you can go online and download the link to request that,
Okay.
and it'll be mailed to you,
Okay.
free.
Wow.
Yeah, and the hot sauce is there,
Yeah.
the bag is there, and all those men who are unsung cooks, they want to check, they can order that on the website.
Look in that camera and tell all those men out there from north to south to get involved.
Well, I just want to tell you that it doesn't take, you don't have to be a father, you just have to be a leader. Leadership is what you do locally. And join us at fatherstable.com. I will challenge you to bring your city to the table and let us give you all you need to get started and raise money for your community, but enjoy it because food is the best way to raise money and it's most enjoyable. So join us at fatherstable.com and check out our YouTube videos. Look at us at My Family Recipe Rocks with Joy Fatone. We're there. It's all about cooking. Food is an equalizer.
This is Terry Allen. Thank you.
All right, sir.
Thanks for watching. This is Pastor Keith coming to you all the way from Dallas, Texas. It was 102 degrees today, but it's calmed down. It's a perfect sunset. As you see the skyline in the background, I appreciate you keeping up with the episodes. Again, this is Pastor Keith, and I'll see you next time.